I don't even know what to say, man. How to even start a video like this when you just realize you should have been doing this the whole time. Now, I won't give Ableton too much credit, but if you saw in our last video why people love Ableton, you'll understand why I am shaking my head 3,000 times. Shout out to Andre. But listen, we're going to try to build a track around this. I am too inspired right now. But one thing, I know I'm all over the place. My brain is all over the place. But that's our goal, to create a track right now in Ableton Live. Let me know if you use Ableton with a thumbs up. The more thumbs up, the more I know you use Ableton, or at least tried to use Ableton. So first of all, what blew me away was that you have fade ins and fade outs. I know that sounds so simple, but in FL, you don't get that luxury like that. You can transpose the key and it sounds crazy good. The tempo like changes when you load in stuff. So let's turn this up to like 120, make it trap beat. Let's go 130. Let's go edgy. Only thing, I'm gonna see where I get stuck in Ableton. Now, only thing on the top of my head I can think of that would like slow me down is the step sequencing of the drums. I feel like if Ableton just completely stole FL Studio's step sequencer, they would be dominating right now. There's no reason why they shouldn't have that type of step sequencer without adding a plugin. Now that's probably my ignorance in Ableton. They probably have it somewhere, but it's not like the same thing. In my opinion, that one feature would take Ableton to the next level, period. And we FL users will respect it and be able to go back and forth between FL and Ableton. That's what I believe. So, all right. So I have so many thoughts, but let's see how many bars. So this sound is from Sound Oracle Sounds, by the way. I grabbed this from his Vocane. Okay, so under Vocane, I have the deluxe edition, and this is called the Be Good Loop, B minor, 102 BPM. So again, the tempo stretches, the sample stretches. All right, so let's figure out some drums. So I'm talking too much. One other thing is installing plugins in Ableton is kind of difficult because you have to put all these shortcuts into one folder, and like, I don't even know if it worked. It doesn't look like it worked. It may have worked, I don't know. But it's kind of convoluted in that sense. I would just hope that they add a function where you could search multiple folders like FL Studio. I don't know if that's, again, I don't know the difficulty of adding that, but that would be very helpful. Okay, so plugins. And they put all the plugins in like one thing. I know you can favorite stuff and kind of do that, but I mean, they put all the plugins in one big folder. So you have to kind of find the sound generating stuff versus the effects stuff. And that can be a little convoluted as well. But regardless of that, those two things I think will clean up Ableton in FL Studio people's eyes. So what do we want to add to this? I don't even know. Let's add drums first because my brain is going blank. Let's go to Sound Oracle Sounds. He makes drums, he makes loops. And now I see why he makes loops. It's because Ableton Live is perfect for loops. I get it now. It makes sense. Okay. So let's go to, I need to buy his new stuff. I need the Oracle. I need like 4 new packs. I think it was like 5 new packs he released. I need to grab those because I haven't been on the site since I bought, I think Bin Trappin' 3, one of the last ones, or the transition one. Anyway, so let's grab a kick. So here's where, okay, so we need a drum rack, and I forget where to even get the drum rack. So let's figure out where it is first. Drums, let's just load up a drum rack over here. And okay, it's blank. Okay, good. So let's go to and people love drum racks in Ableton. So here's the I'm kind of putting the parallels together. In FL Studio, people don't necessarily like the FPC or the drum rack because it's harder to write in your drums. And they use the step sequencer as almost like what the Ableton people use the drum rack as, which is to keep everything in one place. Now I get it. Makes sense. I know that was a little abstract, but I get it. Let's go to Sound Oracle's kicks. Oh. Let's figure out which kick goes with this. I want like a trappy. And I love how Ableton waits and then plays it with the beat. I like box kick. Of course, when I record, the loudest cars drive by. You probably hear like a truck in the background. I haven't heard a truck all day long until I started recording. Just one of those annoying things. But anyway, where's our drum rack? Where'd it go? Where did it go? Did it disappear? Another weird thing about Ableton, I don't know like where stuff is. Like I don't know where my plugins are installed. I don't know where like the packs that you download are installed. It's very kind of not telling you where stuff is. So here's the kick. I don't know if I had it there the whole time or not, but anyway, let's crank up see if there's an output. We need an input volume and an output. If we don't have that, we can do it in the mixer, but I don't see anything. So let's just turn up the volume here. Actually, there is we need like a compressor type of thing. Before I start doing all the stuff with the drums, let's keep it normal. And so for the longest time, another thing that I wish was a little bit easier is how to create MIDI clips. Because when I was in the Sam Ash store, I was looking at the screen for like 10 days trying to figure out how to add something to the arrangement view. That should not be the case. But what you do is you highlight an area, you right click, insert MIDI clip. Now that should not be that convoluted to do that. That's something that I feel like they should figure out by now, in my humble opinion. And all they need is a step sequencer. They would destroy. So boom. So is this? No, I don't know how to move. Is there a slip tool, some type of wear? Is there a slip tool, some type of wear? Can we? Now here's where it gets like, you have to know Ableton to do this. What I'm trying to do is have the sample start at a different spot. Wait, did I even? Maybe I can just manually do this. Let's cut it. We need like one. How do you change this? Let's go to a half a bar. Slide that. That didn't do anything. I'm trying to figure it out on the go. If you didn't know, that didn't do anything either. Maybe that's just the metronome count. I don't know. Well, what I'm trying to do is just slide this over like a half beat, but I can't see. So that's something you just gotta learn, I guess. I guess it's one of them things. Oh, never mind. I was just too zoomed out. That was why. Oh, that was fire. Okay, man. All right. So I'm just trying to Somebody said Ableton looks like an Excel spreadsheet. That's pretty funny because it kind of does. Darn, I wish I could I don't know how to micronode. So let's hit Alt. Alt usually solves all problems. Let's figure out if Alt is the key. And that's not the key. Is Shift the key? No. Is Control no. Let me figure this out. Hopefully we can figure it out. I should not have to Google right now how to micronudge. Let's edit. Usually under edit, they tell you how to do stuff. I don't see a nudge feature anywhere in the edit. Like, companies should know, like, the basic functions should be the easiest thing to do, period. In FL, I'm talking about FL, Pro Tools, Studio One, Ableton, all the basic stuff should be one click away. Why is it, like, I'm saying for FL Studio, for example, why is time stretching 7 steps? Like, it should not be, even if you had to hit another button to do it, it should only be like a shortcut or a hotkey. Like, I don't get why these companies don't get that. Maybe because they don't use the stuff. Maybe that's why. I'm just talking trash at this point. That is crazy simple. This sample just sounds, it's just making me like smile every time because it just sounds way cooler in this pitch. Anyway, let's find a snare. Where's our drum rack? Where's our drum rack? Here we go. Let's find a snare. Like the agency snare. The agency. Let's draw this thing in. Where we at? Double click. In a sense, this is a step sequencer look to it, but it's like, I guess it is the same. If you it is kind of the same because there's blocks. It's colorated. Colorated, is that a word? It's colored. Pause. I don't know. Is that racist? It's colored. It has blocks. So I guess maybe I take my statement back. It is kind of like a step sequencer in that sense. Now, can you make it smaller? Because if you can make it smaller, that might beat FL Studio step sequencer. Because in FL, you can only have one size block. But in Ableton, if you were able to like somehow change the snap to grid view to something else, like let's see what we're on here. Fixed grid. Okay, so you can. So let's go to 130 seconds. Okay, so that kind of beats FL. Well, I'm way off key, way off beat. Because okay, I'll show you when we get the hi-hats why that's important. So I was talking trash, but once you realize, then you're like, all right, I was just talking trash. Hit Control D to duplicate. Let's go back to that snare. I want to pitch it down. Where's the pitch thing? Oh, transposed though. Now, can you transpose microscopically? Doesn't look like it. Now, what I'm going to do on this drum rack is add some effects. Now, here's the difference between FL and like Ableton is that in FL, your effects are completely separate from the sounds, whereas Ableton, you can put everything all in one like linear thing. So it's kind of different in that sense. Well, not kind of, it is. We're going to add the drum bus to this whole situation. And let's add that in, and it should affect all the sounds. Let's drive the drums. I also think the default plugins are really good in Ableton. Like the effects are really good. But again, you're paying that price for that. Oh, here's the output. So you're pumping the drive, you're turning down your output. And the kick. Is there a way we can... we need to start it a little bit later. And also this catches the nodes, which is important for the start right here. Unless maybe you can do micro. I don't know. I'm hitting shift. So it's good that that's a smart feature because for sound designers, you don't want the clicks and pops. So this automatically avoids clicks and pops, it looks like. Now it looks like I screwed something up. So I could be completely making that up, but it looks like it was capturing it at the node. But then again, it doesn't look like it. Oh, I just turned up the volume for the kick. Oh, click is punching hard. Now I don't know where the effect went. Like, where'd it go? Did it disappear? Did it only... It looks like I only added it to the snare. So let's figure out how to do this. Where are we at? Let's go back. What I'm going to do here is, since the beat is a little whatever, I'm going to hit Control, left click the key, grab all my kicks except this one. So I'm going to hit Control Shift to unselect, deselect, whatever the proper word is, and hit Alt left to micro nudge the other kicks just so they don't sound too late. Because that type of kick needs a little breathing room in the beginning. Ableton might be... Somebody in the comments, you have to save me from jumping from FL to Ableton. I mean... Let's grab a hi-hat. So where's Sound Oracle Sounds? Cartel Hat, there we go. That's like the name of it sounds. Just Cartel Hat just sounds interesting. It just sounds interesting. Let's go back inside the, what is this? I almost called it a pad. But anyway. What am I trying to do here? I need to zoom out a little bit. It's a little claustrophobic. And hit Control D. What does that do? That just latch pastes. Okay, important to know. Control C, Control V. What does that do? Nothing. Oh, we can go backwards too. I did not know you can go backwards. Another reason why Ableton is kind of... Somebody got to save me from jumping off the edge, man. You got to save me from jumping off the edge, man. All right, let's do this. Control D. So I was talking about the way you can right click and switch what am I trying to say? My brain is thinking 1,000 years ahead. You can switch the grid snap, and that's important for hi-hat rolls and trap. So let's go back. So I'm going to do 1 2 3 4 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. And then we want to do a hi-hat roll. So let me figure out where I want the hi-hat roll. So I want a hi-hat roll right here. So I'm going to drag that out, and let's right click, go to 130 seconds. Now I don't know any shortcuts just yet on how to chop, but there may be a shortcut on how to auto slice this thing into different pieces. I don't know. Is there a slice tool? I don't see a slice symbol anywhere. So I'm assuming there's no slice. Could be completely wrong. So what I'm going to do is just manually just make this shorter, and let's hit Control D to fill in the gap. Now I would like a faster roll, but this only goes down to about off. So I don't know how. Let's see. Let's see how small we can make it with off. Now the only thing is it's not measuring, so we could have this wrong, incorrect of a length. So that's not good. So in that case, you would. Let me see if I can make these shorter some type of way. And we may be able to do this. We may not though. Let's see. What am I doing here? Control Shift, highlight these. There's no, like, it's not snapping to anything. So I don't know if it's being halved or not. So I'm not going to guess because that's dangerous. You don't want to guess. But if I can make them smaller, I'll look into it. But from what I can see, I don't see anything just yet. So now it makes sense why certain beats that are made in Ableton have that type of sound. It's because they can't go smaller than that, at least from the jump. Okay, so one thing is that this pattern was different. I think you have to hit Control Shift D to where it duplicates as, I remember somebody leaving that in the comments. I'm probably hitting the wrong shortcut, but let's take a gander. That makes sense. Hit Control Shift D. Okay. And we're now pasting this. Whereas if I make any changes, those changes will be added to the next thing. That's what I remember, I think. So let me make a change and see if it adds to all of them. No, it didn't. So I probably did something wrong, but whatever. I thought I was doing something different. I kind of like that early snare. Let's put it in time to see what it sounds like. Plus, I don't want it happening all the time anyway. To Control C this time because I don't want to paste right next to it. Click over here, click Control V, so it pastes. And let me figure out. It looks like I must have duplicated all this stuff some type of way. Whatever, we're getting pretty far. Let's go back to our drum rack. Pitch the hi-hat down. Oh, you can hot swap. Is that what that is? hot swap. So you click on this and you can swap with other hi-hats in real time. I think. Is that what it means? Hot swap? I don't know what these little symbols mean. I'm probably doing something that I shouldn't be doing. Whatever. I'm gonna go to the envelope here. Where's the envelope? Classic. Shorten the hi-hat out. Just lower it to stay. I kind of like that punchy drum. Let me shorten it out. I love how they have the boom option. Because what happens is when you saturate your drums, you lose the low end. So they added a function where you can add the boom back. Pretty dope. Let me see if you can reverse. So I'm just right clicking to figure stuff out. But I probably, oh wait, reverse clip. Oh, wait. That scared me, so let's undo that. And let's see what else we can do. Crop, clip, freeze track. A bunch of stuff that, whatever. Let's go back. I wanted to change up, like, let me just like manually change it and hit Control D. How do you move? There has to be a tool somewhere. What I'm looking for is like a tool to just move this to the left, this little screen, so that I don't have to chop it from the other piece, but maybe I have to. Whatever, let's do it the old-fashioned way. Where's my mic even? Isn't my mic? I'm just trying to fade. Wait, where we at? Where do we go? How do you put the time thing right here, yo? How do you, where's the playhead? Like, how do you put the playhead right here? What the freaky? The freaky? The freaky? Alright, let's do this. What? Yikes. The playhead thing is a little frustrating because I don't know where it is. Like, how do you place the playhead? Is it the audio? Maybe it's the audio thing. Alright, so now I know where DJs get all these tricks. Drums need to be louder, so let's figure out how to make them louder. Now we're clipping, so you gotta make sure you're not clipping. I'm looking at the master in the red. So let's mix this a little bit. So I'm trying different audio effects. The only thing I don't get just yet is how to lower the mix level of these things. Like where's the blend knob? I don't know where it is. So until then, I'm gonna skip this effect. It's a cool effect, but it's like eating up the whole sound. I want it to be like 50-50. Maybe you have to route it, but still. So they have these default sends over here, which are reverb. You can use these two big knobs to send the signal to there. I wonder if you can add more sends here, but by default, it's just one knob. So it's sending it to this reverb, which is set up this way. Very subtle, and it sounds big. So I'm sending it to the delay and the reverb for these sends. I wonder if you can add more. Insert MIDI track. No. Maybe it's just like two default sends. So those are more of the hidden things. They're just kind of like, this is their landscape. Got to deal with it. Somehow I forgot the 808, so let's go back and add an 808. Let's find that 808. Let's go back to Sound Oracle stuff. 808 formula. Oh, here we go. Let me drag it over here because I don't know where it's going to put it. And it's not letting me put it anywhere. So let's open up a new MIDI track. And I'm just going to drag this over here. Why is this not letting me do it? So in FL, you can just drag samples into, I could be actually making that up. You can drag samples into the channel rack, but it won't show up as a sampler technically. So technically we do have to load up a sampler in FL. I was about to throw shade at Ableton, but it's the same thing in FL. The only thing is I want this to be like an instrument, because so let's grab a sampler, because I don't want it to only play one note. I want the 808 to play multiple notes, and for that I need to drag it into a sampler. There we go. So you have to do the same thing in FL. Let's draw a clip. Let's move this up. Can you move tracks? Yeah, okay. Left click, drag, right click, insert MIDI clip, and audio. Now let me go back to the sampler before I throw some more shade. And I wish it would, I could be wrong here. Let me just triple check before I start opening my mouth. I just need a simple transpose button. Okay, we can transpose, but let me hear it in context, because it's not playing anything yet. All right, so let's go back to the MIDI clip. And I think it actually stops the note by default. That's pretty dope. Usually in FL you have to tell it to stop the note, so that's cool. And the only thing here is that I wish you could see further into the future, because like right now I can only see that because of the clip view, clip length, and I don't want it to duplicate. I just want to add more stuff, and I don't know how to do it. How do you make this scene bigger? I don't want to duplicate the loop. That's not what I want to do. I just want to make it longer. Maybe we have to, how do you make it longer? This can't be it. Let's just delete. When in doubt, delete. Right click, insert MIDI clip. Okay, now it's bigger. There's probably a function somewhere that tells you. But anyway. And I wish the keys were labeled. You know, you can kind of see it over here, but I mean, when you're working this way, you're not looking at a piano, so you have to have the notes like somewhere. Need to go back to this clip, add a kick. So now I have a whole kick pattern in my head. Let me add these kicks. So I'll find the shortcut where I don't have to do this to each individual MIDI clip. That is the dirtiest. Oh my God, I'm making way better beats in Ableton just off the strength of finding stuff out. And Oracle sounds, of course. Trying to decide where I want to go. Or I could just do no, that's why. So boom boom. It's one of those like proud father moments, even though I don't own, like, Ableton's not my son. Yo, this beat is too hard. Like, if I could figure out the more advanced stuff, like, I don't know, FL. I don't know. I don't know. Because what do I need to do in FL that I can't do right now? Automation, okay. Like, it's automation, really, and routing in the mixer. Other than that, I can't think of anything else you would need to know for it to be a huge difference. Like, cry. Enjoy. Oh, this beat is too fire right now. Also, autotune won't load up in here because it's acting weird. I don't know how to get autotune in here yet. Till then, I can't use it like I want to. But also, another thing is, how do you add plugins to the master? Somebody told me in the comments, from the comments below, but I forget what they said. So I would like to add stuff to the master chain. I just forget how it's routed. Like, where is the master chain? Like, where is it? I'm clicking on it, but it's not letting me. So that's the one thing I wish was a little bit more straightforward. Well, there's a lot of things, but let me try one thing, which is to add a filter to the vocals so that we can have a verse. So let's just hack our way through a filter. So I'm clicking on this track. I thought we had plugins, but it's just clip. I don't know the difference between a clip. I guess clips, I don't know. I don't know the clip function either, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Here we have the effects track, effects chain, I mean. And I want to add a filter to it, an EQ. So I added an EQ3, but what I want to do is turn down the highs, but I want to automate this period. So that maybe you can right click, show automation. So I want this knob to go down and up over time. I wish I could turn it off and on over time. Maybe you can with this automation button here, I'm assuming. Like an on and off. Let's see, show automation, device on. Okay. So I want the device on. Let's turn it off in the beginning. And I love how they label what you're doing with the automation. That's very important. So we have 8 bars of that. I kind of lost track. Okay, 8 bars of that. Then we want it to go right here and turn it on. And then let's do something like this. It's a little weird, like the values, it just kind of is like in the middle of nowhere, on and off. But at least they tell you what the heck you're doing. So, and you just left click and pull it. That's simple. And then, okay, that's good. So all we got to do now is set the parameter. And it should only work during this area. Okay. Oh, it worked. Cool. Easy peasy. What I'm trying to do now is create a fade. Let me see. It looks like it highlights blue. It just either goes on or off. So I guess when you're doing on-off switch, there's no in between. So that doesn't make sense. So maybe I'm making it do something that doesn't make sense. Yo, there's Every like knob that I'm pressing in Ableton is surprising me how many features you guys have by default. They have a stereo spread option, which widens out your 808 without all this extra plugin crap. And that's important because for mixing, this is blowing my mind. So I know I'm going through a lot, but let's see if you could do pitch bends. So I have a high G and I have this A sharp, but what we have to do is activate. There's no like pitch bend note in Ableton's piano roll, and we have to activate what's called portamento mode, which allows the pitch to bend. I have to figure out where it is in the plugin first. It's under glide, portamento. So I put it on slide mode. It goes really fast though. The notes just have to overlap. Gonna run the 808 through maybe a drum bus just to see if it sounds good in it or not. I am like overly compressed. I'm overly impressed with Ableton right now, but this isn't my first time in Ableton, but the other times in Ableton I didn't know all this stuff. I don't even know how I figured it out today, but I just did. And man, it's just, and this is what I'm using, the analog channel strip. I don't have anything else. So it's all stock plugins. I don't know the CPU usage, but I don't hear the computer struggling. So I'm just, oh, here's, I guess, CPU up here. Yeah. We're only using like 10 CPU. So let's work on this 808. highly impressed with Ableton Live right now. Now, keep in mind that we are using Sound Oracle stuff, so that's half the reason why it sounds really good. Well, not half, probably 90% the reason why it sounds really good. Other 10% is effects, but also we need this. It's a vocal sample, so it sounds beautiful by itself. I wonder what this sounds like if we program from just MIDI instruments. So next beat we'll do MIDI instruments only. Thanks for watching today. I had a lot of fun. Let me know what you learned today, if anything, and let me know what you want to dig into with Ableton, or tell me something about Ableton that I just overlooked or didn't know, or you think I should know, excuse me. But man, Ableton is really amazing. I can't complain, man. Cannot complain. Thanks for watching. It's BusyWorksBeats.com.